My name is Natasha Jones. I am the CEO of HC Screening and Laboratory. We are a national third-party administrator, and we provide compliance services across the board, from drug screening, physicals for DOT. We also do EAP programs and drug and alcohol policy enforcement. So what we have today is we have the gut check. We have Paula Richardson. She's a nurse practitioner, certified holistic health coach, and functional wellness expert with a passion for helping people take their health back. After overcoming her own health battles, Paula created the Shift 360 program to guide others on a powerful journey of healing, from gut issues and inflammation to metabolic imbalance and burnout. As the founder of Top Notch Health Solutions, she combines science, soul, strategy to help you restore your body, reclaim your energy, and feel like yourself again. So without further ado, I would love to introduce my very new friend, my best friend at this point, because she specializes in something that I want to get into, and I understand that this is a growing need. Miss Paula Richardson.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much, Natasha, for having me. This is a very passionate topic for me, and it hits close to home. And as a nurse practitioner, we are educated in many ways to help with disease, but now it's time to shift the focus to being proactive instead of reactive and focusing on wellness. And it's imperative in the workplace that we start thinking about this when it comes to our employees, when it comes to ourselves, right? Burnout happens to all of us. So thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. It's such an honor. So just a little background. We met at a rally for nurses shift change, just because of the big bill that's going through right now with Medicaid cuts, Medicare cuts. So we were there and we were ready to get busy with, with the Georgia government, and just learning what she does is just so amazing. She did give us a little backstory during the rally, but I would love for her to share what got you on this journey, what first led you into the world of gut health, and why has it become your life's work?
So my passion started with my own health. I was 43 years old on 5 prescriptions. Okay. Diabetic, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, and my health was declining. If I'm on 5 prescriptions at 43 years old, what is 60 going to look like? The caveat is this: I was killing it in my professional career. I've been a nurse since 2003, a nurse practitioner since 2012. With my eyes closed, I can place a line in someone's groin that travels to their heart to save their life, but I could not save my own. In fact, I didn't recognize that my health was failing because my labs were normal and my diseases were controlled on paper. However, my body spoke a very different language. I began experiencing a lot of fatigue, poor energy, leg swelling. They could not find a diagnosis. They checked all the labs, all the tests, on multiple water pills. The swelling in my feet and legs did not go away. They began to change color. And I was concerned I was going to lose my legs. But again, A1C is optimal. Blood pressure is normal. But I was 302 pounds, a 28 in the waist, could not see my feet, and I had horrible cravings. I couldn't lose weight. I would work out. I would do all the things, and I would leave the gym worse than when I came. Sleeping 4 to 5 hours at night. And I began to notice at work, my energy levels were low, my focus, my mood, I was easily triggered. I took phenomenal care of patients, but I know there was a better version in me. As a nurse practitioner in the ICU, it requires quick thought, quick focus, quick movement. a lot of complex thought and teamwork. And I began to literally have energy slumps at work, or I could just doze off if I sat for too long. Having sick days with no diagnosis. The doctor could not find anything, but I just couldn't get out of bed unless I was coming to work. And guess what? That made work a punishment because I could only really function when I'm at work. Otherwise, I'm at home in the bed. So you know what I did? I got to lose the weight. That's the first thing we all say, right? And I tried the weight loss shots. I did GLP-1s, and I could lose weight. And I'm like, wait a minute. I can't lose weight going to Orange Theory, Burn Boot Camp, but I can take this shot and I can lose weight. I'm already on 5 prescriptions, right? I don't want to add 6, right? I know what happens with prescriptions. Progression occurs and they switch them around multiple times as the body starts to get used to it. So I did some very deep research and I found that the gut creates what the shot does. That the gut creates what the shot does. GLP-1. And
What?
I repeat that one more time.
Said what? You said the gut has
Yes.
You're gonna put somebody out of business.
Yes. So
okay.
I must be missing something because with this shot, my whole life changed. The cravings went away. The mood swing, like I felt like a different person. But I'm like, wait a minute. I want to know how this does. How can I do it for myself? So I got a gut analysis. And what did I find? I had a really leaky gut. I had severe staph and strep infections in my gut. And I was missing the healthy gut bacteria that does what the shots do. Undetectable. And that's where I began my journey to heal myself naturally. It has been about 3 years since I had an injection. I'm down to a size 14. I can ride my bike 8 miles in 45 minutes. I sleep well. My hair has grown back. My mood is stable. My energy is high. I feel like a total different person, and I'm aging backwards. So that is why this has become my life's work, because we don't think about the gut impacting all of that, right? We think about constipation, digestion, bloating, but all of that is connected to every organ, cell, and system in our bodies. And so that's why it's my life's work. My goal is to shift the trajectory of health in our community from the inside out.
That's amazing. Because when I think about you saying that you're a nurse practitioner, I'm a registered nurse, and being acute care, you have swing shifts, you have high acuity, you have people's lives in your hands. You just said you can put a line in someone's groin in your sleep with your eyes closed, so, but yet you were suffering from gut issues.
Yes.
So it's like going to the doctor, they're going to give you some more pills, just like you said, right? So why is it that normal healthcare does not see that connection?
Well, I want to first off by say this. I believe in conventional medicine, right? There's a purpose and a place for it. It is disease focused, not wellness focused. It's reactionary. So even preventative care checks labs and it looks normal. But functional health focuses on healing opportunities, hidden dysfunctions that are affecting our energy, our mood, diabetes, glucose control, weight loss resistance, where you may not have a diagnosis, but it's connected to those things. And so with conventional medicine that's highly driven by insurance companies, if you don't have a diagnosis or a disease to connect to it, they're not going to pay for it either. So there's a space and a place for conventional wellness. We need someone monitoring disease. However, Our health is not in our doctor's office. It's an investment in ourselves, okay? And you're right. You don't hear about gut health at the doctor's office, right? You don't hear about those things. In fact, when I was on my journey, I didn't know I was constipated. The back pain from the bloating and constipation, all of that was an issue, but it was never discussed because in that space, that's not the focus. You come here for a disease, a diagnosis, and a prescription. And that's what it's for. It's to help you when you're sick and you have a diagnosis.
Now, taking it a step further, would you correlate your job to the reason why your gut was kind of leaky and it was going through all of this?
Absolutely. When it comes to gut health, it's not just focusing on the gut, but let's talk about the things that impact what I saw in my gut. Why didn't I have any of that healthy gut bacteria to help me lose weight, decrease inflammation, and to change my whole life? Stress, burnout. At that time, I was having a lot of crashes, but I was working tons of hours every week, 13 hours plus. I was barely getting sleep. On my days off, I'm getting called. It's a high impact area. So I'm constantly thinking. There was no rest. And stress wipes out the healthy gut bacteria and allows unhealthy gut bacteria to bloom. They love stress and high cortisol. So I'm in a very high-powered, energetic, quick move, flight or fight constantly. Okay. And let's not talk about when I'm off, right? And I got to catch up with my family. So right. I'm handling business in all areas except for my health. And I didn't really know until I checked my gut.
Okay. That's really significant. So because it's not the norm and because, many people who suffer from this, they're in high stress industries. Can you explain in like layman's terms, gut-brain connection, why it matters for decision-making, focus, and safety?
So just a little bit of science, because I love to bring science into it, is that the gut has a lining. It protects what's in the gut from the bloodstream. It's amazing how our bodies function. The gut should be a closed system where no toxins can get into our bloodstream. Only the nutrients and the vitamins and the healthy things, including chemicals that reduce inflammation, can cross this barrier into the body. However, there's a connection between the lining of the gut and the lining of every organ, even the brain. So when we're talking about brain fog, mood issues, highly triggered, anxiety, when we're talking about things like that, it's connected directly. So if I have a leaky gut, then guess what? Those chemicals and toxins are also triggering the lining that protects my brain and causing inflammation. The next thing, at least 90% of the receptors that have an effect on our mood, called serotonin, are in the gut. So if you have a lot of leaky gut, a lot of unhealthy gut bacteria, poor digestion, you could be triggering those serotonin receptors that communicate to the brain. Okay? And that is absolutely what I see all the time in my clients. So an unhealthy gut is connected to brain fog, poor focus, low energy, triggering inflammation, and it's a bi-directional two-way street. So think about it. When you get butterflies, if you're nervous, that's a connection. Some people get anxiety and have stomach issues. It's a connection. IBS, tightly connected to how we feel and stress. And although we don't have those diagnoses, that doesn't mean that we're not having those symptoms and those feelings. And what this does is it affects decision-making, emotional control, and alertness. We need that to work in high industry places that require productivity, not just saving lives, that's just one, but if you're driving, right, you're on the road. If productivity is important for a business, you got to have employees that are able to function and want to show up for work. All right. So supporting gut health improves the mental clarity, productivity, and safety on the job. Definitely, the gut brain connection is very, very real.
Yes, it definitely sounds real. And it's funny because in the healthcare industry, the hours are crazy, like I just mentioned, right? So it's like, how are we going to really take care of ourselves and people at the same time? Because um, that brain connection that you talk about, it sounds like the blood-brain barrier, right? So
Absolutely.
certain things can only get through that passageway, and the food that they offer. If you work night shift, there's nothing available.
There's nothing available.
So you're reliant on, your resources, DoorDash or whatever it is, and you're just eating a bunch of foolishness. I just did a training earlier today where we saw that 70% of people are out for that absent rates when they're trying to go to the doctor to figure out what's going wrong with them. What would you say for employers who do not have any type of program available, like EAPs or anything like that, right? How would you address like a leader in that role when it comes to that gut health barrier and connection to healthcare and workforce?
So I would suggest, and there are some actionable steps that can be taken, right? Switching from sick days to wellness days, okay? And really being proactive about your workplace wellness. People want to feel valued and understood, and incorporating some functional health principles or testing to give clients or your employees a targeted approach to wellness can prompt a lifestyle change, because a lot of those call outs are basic issues. Immune system dysfunction from, again, the gut is connected to our immune system, and they're constantly getting sick, or energy issues, the same things I had, and the doctor couldn't find anything. So definitely making it a frontline approach and a proactive approach for your employees that, hey, we're going to bring a new initiative and it's going to be different than you've ever heard in its gut health, and educating them, offering lunch and learns, hiring a functional wellness expert like myself to come in and talk to your team, but and also to help you as an employer. Again, if it comes from the top down, right? If your employees see you drinking water, your green juices, focusing on your gut health, they're more apt to do the same thing. Sending out weekly gut health tips to your employees as well, letting them know you care. Okay. The biggest thing I can also say, you mentioned around lunch, is offering reasonable lunch breaks. In the hospital, it wasn't a lunch break. You literally ran to the cafeteria in the daytime and you scarfed down the hamburger and French fries in about 15 minutes. And while you're on that 15-minute, you're still getting calls. You're still thinking about the heart rate monitor outside.
Yep, or the vending machine at night.
Oh, the vending machine. Oh, yeah. So definitely swapping out, making some healthy snacks available, especially at night for our night shift and weekends, is very, very important. And just creating an atmosphere of wellness is very, very key.
Very huge. Wellness is the new culture shift for workplaces. I can only stress that enough, that, people are so used to doing stuff at home. You can get on the Zoom and do your job. You can work from home. So what is the value proposition that these workplaces are bringing for people to come into office now, with this new mandate from the new administration? Everyone has to come in now. So what is different between your company versus the other? Because nurses, we could find a job anywhere, right?
Yes, we can.
So we need to demand more for wellness. So more about that wellness. You mentioned fatigue and poor nutrition. as someone who's working, and they don't need to necessarily be in the healthcare industry, but any hidden signals that might, give us more information on the gut. Like, I know you spoke about fatigue and all of that stuff, but sometimes it can mimic something else, right? That's not out. That's not ordinary symptoms of the gut, right? So can you give us a little bit more about that? Like, walk us through that process.
Well, one of the things, like, what are some hidden signals? If you find someone who is irritable, triggered, anxious, that could be a sign that there are some digestive issues that are showing up in other ways. Poor immunity, a lot of sick days, and they stay sick all the time. That's a sign that the gut may have issues as well. What I see most often were the energy slumps, when all of us feel like we can go to sleep about 2 or 3 o'clock, and then we're wanting coffee about 4. That's a sign that there's poor glucose regulation, and the gut microbiome plays a huge role on those cortisol levels and glucose control. Other than the obvious, digestive signs, right, which a lot of us may or may not have, or we may not really know they're connected. Those are some common things that I notice that are linked to the gut that employers need to know. People coming in late, like all the time, they might not be sleeping, and they're dragging themselves in, and they may be like me. Work was a punishment because that's the only time I really got out of bed anyway. And not that it was a jobs problem, it was just what was happening in my life. I just couldn't get myself together unless I was going to work, and it got exhausting.
Absolutely. So, what are the risks of ignoring gut health and nutrition?
So the risk is poor productivity, most importantly, safety of your team. Depending on what industry you're in, if it's anything involving taking care of anyone, driving the workforce, if your employees are driving mechanical equipment that requires safety, the big thing is safety. When the alertness and the brain fog kicks in, and the ability to have complex, quick thought, it literally affects the job, like memory loss. Like, just can't think of, like, what did I do with that, or what drug should I hang, or just literally, it's real. It happens to people. The next thing is a lot of loss of productivity time. Okay, sick days constantly. You got to always replace and find somebody, or you're working short staff because people are always sick with various infections, or just fatigue and need a mental day because they're just off and imbalanced. So I feel like those are the risks. And in all of that, you lose productivity, finances, and morale.
Now, is it safe to say, because you did mention serotonin in the gut, that can lead to sleep apnea or anything like that? Any other chemical imbalances within the gut, do they lead to anything long-term that's very serious?
Well, absolutely. So with serotonin, it's more for mood. It affects our mood and anxiety, but also the cortisol issue. When you have persistent elevated cortisol from stress and burnout, the gut releases inflammatory chemicals into the body and releases it everywhere. And it's connected to high blood pressure, diabetes progression, kidney issues. It's linked to it all. And it progresses metabolic diseases even further when you have a poor gut, because we can take all the turmeric, the ginger, the honey, whatever it is. But if you have a severely leaky gut, those things are like dropping in the bucket. Okay. And so, yes, the chemical imbalances like serotonin, and let's talk about GLP-1, right? I'm missing it. Without GLP-1, without the bacteria that secretes GLP-1, I'm at an increased risk for diabetes, high blood pressure, metabolic disease, and inflammation. That's an employee That's not optimal. We're walking in the door, but we're not optimal when those processes begin to take place. And it also involves hormonal health with our women. So you have a perimenopausal, menopausal woman with poor gut health. The hormones in themselves, estrogen, is closely related to the gut microbiome. Thyroid function as well, right? We think about the thyroid, oh, we have hypothyroidism or things like that. But guess where that thyroid hormone, most of it is turned on in the gut. So if you have gut issues, the sluggishness and everything else can also cause problems. So even if it's not directly related, the gut is needed to break down, distribute these hormones and ensure proper circulation. So yes, it has connections to other hormones and chemical mediators that are needed for optimal health, longevity, and what you want, absolute phenomenal performance.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So what type of things are you doing for your clients? Talk more about your program and how you help this issue.
So I offer several programs to help that can help clients make a shift in their wellness atmosphere. And that's the key. We're not talking about perfection. I'm not talking about eating rabbit food all day, right? No strict diets, no like all of a sudden my whole life changes, but literally giving people the tools and the knowledge. Knowledge is our superpower when it comes to wellness. And so my programs use various tools at different levels to help clients be their best, right? And so one program is called the Shift 360 Insights Program, where we use a simple hair analysis to test over 1,200 markers and let the client know what's inflammatory to their body, not just generic, oh, this or that, but what is inflammatory and sensitive to their body. What chemicals are sensitive to their body? What additives are sensitive? And your stress and inflammation numbers. Where is that stress? Is it in the stomach, the liver? Is it in the joints? Is it the cortisol? It gives some phenomenal insights to shift and spark an atmosphere of wellness.
That's amazing. You did mention earlier that your numbers were normal for your lab. So this is going to give a broader picture of what's
Absolutely.
going on. That's awesome.
I want to talk about that.
Yeah.
So when we look at our conventional labs, they're looking for disease. Okay. So I can have a normal A1C. That just means my pancreas is still functioning for now, right? Then I become pre-diabetic or diabetic. That means my pancreas is not functioning as well. What functional wellness does, it takes a look at what is surging your glucose levels and in making your pancreas work harder so you can understand how to drop those surges to prevent the diabetes or pre-diabetes. It's a very different approach. We look at function, not disease. So it's a very, very different approach. And the thing is this, disease is the death of the normal function of that organ, period. You know, we think, oh, I have this disease, I'll take this shot, I'll take this pill. But it does not stop the progression of the disease. Even though my A1C was normal, my legs, my vascular system had failed. And I'm like, how? My A1C is normal because the insulin resistance, the damage to my cells was still occurring while I was controlling a glucose number, because the glucose is the symptom, not the cause. And that's what makes functional wellness very, very different. Looking at root cause and helping people where they are. I'm a whole nurse practitioner We are healthcare providers and we suffer just like everyone. And if I, 43, on 5 prescriptions, can put a line in your groin to your heart to save your life, and my own body was failing, that means I'm human. So meeting people where they are with functional wellness is very, very key. And that's why I love it. I don't care where you are. I don't care what you ate yesterday or what you've been doing. Let's just take a look at this and how can we take tiny steps to shift the trajectory of your health and add years to your life.
Absolutely. Let's backtrack a little bit. So functional health, where did you go for this? Like, where did you get this training? How did you stumble across it? Was
So,
it hard for you to shift that nurse brain into a functional practitioner?
um, so how can I say? I've been trained by the best physicians and nurse practitioners to always have a complex thought process. They used to call me, I'm a think box. So I've always had a wonder of the why. I always assessed why, right? Right. But taking it into a functional approach was the next key. Okay. And when I saw my gut microbiome analysis, excuse me. When I saw my gut microbiome analysis, excuse me, I'm sorry. I apologize. When I
No.
saw my gut microbiome analysis, and I did go to a functional wellness practitioner, she targeted just general things, right? And at that point, I started doing research at NIH, like looking up things, right? And I started on myself and used my protocols on my clients. So if you're a nurse or a nurse practitioner, you don't have to have the formal training. It's good to have. There's no necessarily different nurse practitioner certification for functional wellness, but I did go to functional diagnostic training school. It's called Functional Diagnostic Nutritionist, and I did take their program, and it just reinforced what I had already been doing. Okay. So you can, as a nurse or a nurse practitioner, learn how to do these labs and learn the protocols. And that's why I have Gutpreneur Academy, because I help practitioners, clinicians switch into functional health and functional wellness. And a simple hair analysis like can help you heal other people. As nurses, we are healers.
Yes.
We are in different areas, but we help in the trajectory of birth to death, right? Right. And so functional wellness gives a breath of fresh air from the usual disease diagnosis, ICU, hospital. It really helps you tap into your gift of coaching and helping and healing. Those nursing diagnoses that they killed us with in school, I use them now.
Wow.
It's my foundation. So as a nurse or a nurse practitioner, jumping into functional health, it's a mind shift, but it's already in us. It's there. We just have to get into that area and get some type of training and education.
That's so awesome. People wouldn't even know there's things like that out there to take. And just having that doctoral degree and that research mind, you were able to find that on your own. So what you learned was actually true. That's awesome. So back to practical steps. So what could you tell employers that something that they can implement today, like 2 to 3 practical steps that they can implement today within their workplace, whether it's in an ERG group or EAP program?
So I suggest some practical steps is promoting mindfulness on the job. Okay. No matter where you are, allowing and making an environment so the staff can just deep breathe, just kind of decompress in peace. 5 to 10 minutes, 5 to 10 minutes. It didn't take all day, but just allowing that space where you just calm, even if it's like a space where they can read a book for 5 minutes or something where we can break away from the fight or flight. Okay. And this reduces the cortisol levels that can disrupt digestion and gut health. That's definitely a way. The next thing I would say is the snacks.
No pizza parties?
Let me tell you something. Those pizza parties. Let me tell you something. Nurses Week. Yes, all the unhealthy food.
Mhm.
Swapping out snacks in the break room, at meetings, offering healthier snacks. And
Yeah.
the thing is this, and you mentioned food earlier. The reality is, if you look at I want everybody to do this on here tonight. Everybody on here that's on here tonight. If you go home, if you're at home, look in your pantry and look at the back of the food. You're going to see something likely called bioengineered food ingredients.
Mm-hmm.
So those snack chips and the snack cookies and all of that, it's not even real food. It's not even real. So your body, so swapping that out will help with focus and energy and decrease some of those slumps as well. And a breathe before you eat reminder. We used to scarf down food quick, right? Slow down. So we can allow the food to actually digest and register that we're full. Because if not, we're scarfing down food and we got to go. And next thing you know, 2 hours later, I'm hungry. I just inhaled the food really quickly, but oftentimes we have no choice. So allowing the rest and digest to occur, but creating that environment for your employees to have those moments. And when, again, employees feel like they are really appreciated, those small things, you will see a return.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
Absolutely. So could you tell us or share with us a success story that proves how addressing the gut health can transform work culture?
So I want to share someone who was in my Shift 360 Insights program. I just got the message today. She inboxed me. So she's a 70-year-old African-American female. She is a secretary at Emory Healthcare. And when I talked to her 6 weeks ago, she said, I have no energy. I don't even want to live like this. I just can't get out of bed. I don't want to deal with my children. I don't want to deal with the job. I just don't want to live like this. Very tired, exhausted, glucose out of control. Just didn't feel good. So we did her hair analysis. Okay. I didn't do a gut microbiome analysis on her. She did an insights program. And we saw the foods and chemicals that were inflammatory to her body. Her mouthwash, her soap. She had turpentine in her sample. And we found it was an old rusty can underneath the dishwasher, underneath the sink.
Wow.
That's leaking volatile things into the air that she's inhaling, and her liver was inflamed. Okay. And so she can't detoxify toxins the right way. So what I did was put her on my shift program. And so she got what I call my shift shake. Okay. It has greens, fiber, has herbs. It heals the leaky gut, plant-based fiber, all natural. It helps with energy and metabolic health and cellular health. Okay. She put all her ingredients in that in the morning. And we removed the turpentine, all those personal chemicals. Her deodorant had to change. That was also red flagged. She had glyphosate, weed killer, in her hair sample. So we had to remove that from, she's gardens a lot. And we had to, and guess what? That's what they use. They bioengineer our food to withstand the weed killer. So, hey, switch to organic foods where necessary, right? Wash other foods directly. So we put her on the shift and we dealt with stress, sleep, and spiritual balance. Woosah. Okay. Woosah from everything. Shut off the noise. You can't save everybody. Okay. We worked on healthy, balanced eating, not starving herself. In fact, she eats more now than she did before. Right. I dealt with her leaky gut. I did deal with that. Okay. She had inflammation in her stomach, her liver, and cortisol levels. And fitness and mindful movement, walking, stretching. She didn't have the energy to work out. So we think hitting the gym is the first thing we do, right? Go hit the gym. No, the body needs to rest and restore. Okay. The next thing is T. Okay. Toxicity. We removed all her toxic things and trusting the process. It's been 6 weeks. And today she said, I didn't pull it up. I wish I would have pulled it up, but I can't say it word for word, but she says, my body is going through a metamorphosis. I
Wow.
have energy, my mood, I sleep better. Your shift shake is fire.
Girl, it sounds like it.
She
For real.
said, I enjoy drinking my shake. And she's better. Like and that's not with my most expensive program. That's with just a hair analysis. She's showing up to work much better. She got energy. She's sleeping good. Her mood is better. Who you gonna answer in your telephone? Somebody who's cranky or somebody who's got energy, right?
Right. Right. And
And
you
most
know,
importantly, she feels like living now. Like she was like, I can't live like this. I don't want to live like this if I had to be like this.
that's awesome.
So
That's so awesome. And you know what? The first thing when you mention her age, a lot of people would have just chalked it up to old age and just, let her just deteriorate, But yeah, this is a program that everyone needs. I,
absolutely. Functional wellness is our superpower. When we're talking about rebuilding health, I'm not talking about managing disease, but rebuilding health from the cellular level. Functional wellness is our superpower, period.
Absolutely. And just to know that you just mentioned some products, like that's huge as well, because when we go into gut health, we just think about, foods and nutrition and sleep and all of those different habits, right? We're not thinking about our products. We're not thinking about
No.
things that need to stink, turpentine, my God.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's crazy in itself. So if you could speak directly to a business owner, even a safety manager, or anyone in a high risk industry, what's the gut check they need to hear right now?
It's time to shift the trajectory of the health in your workplace. It's time. And educating your workplace on the impact of gut health on how they're feeling creates a connection that you care. A connection that's very different, like really gut health. My employer is taking a deep dive into the root cause of what's happening with me every day.
Mm,
Not just sending me to go get another prescription somewhere, go get some Zoloft or but interested in me. That's the gut check. I feel like employers need to know that the health of your employees make a vast effect on productivity and the success of your business.
absolutely. They got to think about turnover. They would
Totally.
never leave an organization that does that. That's major.
If an employer took a functional approach and especially offered something as simple as a wellness perk as the Shift 360 Insights program, it
Mhm.
will literally say, hey, my employer cares. And I'm getting connected with a functional wellness practitioner that really really, this is awesome. People won't leave when they feel like they're valued.
Absolutely. Um, is there any questions? I'm going to take some questions from the audience if they have any questions in the chat. You can go ahead and put your questions in the Q&A box and we'll ask those questions to Miss Richardson. And while we're waiting for those questions, if they pop up, how do they get your program? How do they find you?
Sure. The link that there will be a link on the YouTube that has access to the actual program, but you can go to tnhealthsolutions.com. Okay. T as in Tom, N as in Nancy, healthsolutions.com. Go to programs and you'll see my shift options. And Shift 360 is the program that gives a phenomenal introductory approach to what's happening in your body.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And that's one way. The next way is to book a wellness strategy session. If you want to take more of a customized approach, it's a 30-minute strategy session. So not a 30-minute, let me tell you about my programs, but let's talk about you and let's make a strategy for you, whether you purchase my program or not. But what are some wellness strategies that are impacting how you're feeling?
Absolutely. So the hair test is the 360 program, or is that something separate?
Yes, so the program itself, the programs are coined Shift 360, okay? However, the Shift 360 Insights program is the one that gives you the insights about your health. The Shift 360 Holistic Lifestyle program is a program where I deep dive, we partner and we deep dive into your gut health, your inflammation. I look at the mucosal barrier, your metabolic wellness profile. You get a hair analysis too. We connect group every week as a group. You get one-on-one sessions. It's an extensive, comprehensive assessment of major areas of your health. Okay. And that is the Shift 360 Holistic Lifestyle Program. It's a 90-day program, at least 3 to 6 months, where we partner and I do for you what my wellness practitioner, Eliza Bacote, did for me. She held my hand. I'm a whole nurse practitioner. I'm like, what is happening? I'm like, you telling me this is linked to this? No, can't be. She was right. 6 months. It's actually, I did like 9 months with her. I mean, because I have a lot of health problems and I needed help. So, but usually it's 3 to 6 months.
That's awesome. And just for our corporate people who are on, you offer workshops and speaking
absolutely. Bring me into your workplace to open the eyes of your employees. This is knowledge is power. It's our superpower. And you know, we've heard the usual issue: lose weight or do this, take this pill, you know, stop eating as much, try this diet. Like we've heard that, right? But letting them hear something different and an opportunity for health and hope will shift the trajectory of the atmosphere. Like people want to be well, whether we are doing everything right or not. So absolutely, workshops, Zoom meetings, in person, corporate offerings of the Shift 360 Insights program as well. We can package it for your workplace wellness initiatives. And that'd be great.
That's awesome. So no questions right now in the chat. The replay will be available on our YouTube if you're interested in looking at the replay. I can only say good things about Paula. She gave the rundown. I'm interested in her program because I need to know. I need some hair taken out or something to figure out what's going on with me. And also my clients need to know about her program as well. So this is the gut check, and she basically explained how your workforce health is affected by your gut health. If you are in the industry, high risk industry, nursing, construction, you know anyone, refer them over to Miss Richardson because it's important and it's vital. Again, you'll find us on YouTube with the replay. You'll get that in the email, and she'll send over some links that is specially created for the audience that came on today. Again, this is HD Screening and Laboratory, and we are signing off.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.